Hello, this is Justin Post. I'm the Student Success Coordinator at Owine Middle School. I'm going to take you through our Level 2 Point 1 certification slide deck this time. So in Task A, the leading indicator here, the school communicates a clear vision as to how teachers should address instruction. You can see our scores there from our survey. Parents at that 3.06. The rest of them, the students, administration, and teachers, all gave us good scores above that 3.5. So we were kind of happy to see that. So we considered this an area of strength with three categories: students, staff, and admin being above the 3.5. Here from our admin, teacher leaders, and I have developed a written document articulating our school-wide model of instruction. My teachers use the same language and words to talk about how they teach and the activities we do in class. So that was that 3.63 from students. That was kind of on the lower end of some of our scores. Moving to Task B. So our success criteria in Task B, when asked, teachers can describe the Owine Community School District instructional framework. Number two, the Owine Community School District instructional framework is referenced in our PLCs. And the third one, new teacher orientation in August includes introduction into the Owine Community School District and our instructional framework. Our table of contents for 2.1B. So here in the next few slides, we'll go over our instructional framework and our process that we went through with that. The NASOT handbook, how we're using that and the elements within. Toby Boss went over professional development sessions with us, helped us to implement some of those strategies and things as a school-wide building. Our eye observation evaluation system, our new teacher orientation, and just that we had a superintendent teacher evaluation meeting earlier this year. So our Owine instructional framework, middle school teachers use this framework to guide their instruction decisions to ensure their instructional practices are aligned with the district goals. The following slides explain the process of that instructional framework on how it was developed and implemented. So step one, when we started the whole HRS process, we got the book, The New Art of Science and Teaching, the NASOT book. So we're using that book. We're using the elements out of it to help improve instruction in the classroom. Our district leadership team, as well as our building leadership teams, were surveyed. From the results of the survey, it was determined which NASOT elements that we wanted to kind of focus on as a district. So those were implemented last year. These elements were also aligned with the Iowa teaching standards. And then from those elements and in the NASOT book and from the Iowa teaching standards, that's kind of how we came up with our elements for our eye observation, which is our teacher evaluation system. So step three, the administration team then aligned these elements with Iowa teaching standards and the elements from eye observation to create the instructional framework. So you can see here, we have our district-wide lens up here. We have our standards-based planning, our conditions for learning, our standards-based instruction, and then our professional responsibilities. So, and then we have the teaching standards down here under that, and then we have professional development down here. These are kind of the elements that we have picked to focus on as a district. So you can see that there. So in this past fall in 2025, administration also saw the need to develop the non-teaching section for staff. So we had staff that are working in our buildings. Myself as an instructional coach, actually myself as a success coach, and then we have instructional coaches as well. We have our guidance counselors. We have our at-risk coordinators. We have a few other positions like our librarians and stuff. So this bottom part here was developed for them to help measure uh, their their progress with their personal goals in their ippy dippies. So you can see they have professional responsibilities, continuous improvement of professional practices, supporting student achievement, planning and prepping to provide support. So a lot of this is based off of supporting the teachers in the classroom. So up here is our teaching elements. So you can see how these are kind of a little bit different up here for our teachers versus our non-teaching elements. So that was nice to have that to help guide those staff. So in step 4, the leadership team introduced this instructional framework model in September PD for all teachers last year in September of 2024. Throughout the year, there was training on it. All teachers were also led by Toby from the Marzano Institute on October 4th of last year. So it's about a year ago. Toby came in, did a PD with all teachers on that. This past September of this fall in 2025, administration did professional development on the evaluation process, informed staff of the steps they need to take to show their growth on their professional development plans. So this included understanding the instructional framework to better their classroom rigor. So continued work on that. Step 5, teachers and the leadership team continue to let this framework guide us in our teaching practices by having it present in our PLC meetings when discussing instruction and referring to the components on the framework during formal and informal observations and evaluation with our administration. Our instructional coaches and myself as a success coach, we conduct walkthroughs, and we've also been taught how to input. It's informal, it's non-evaluative, it's just evidence into eye observation for the teachers so that they get that feedback of like that they can use as artifacts or as evidence with their administrator to show that they are doing these things and as part of their job requirements. So we go in, we submit that information to eye observation, and then the teachers have it and can use that as evidence to show their evaluator. So here's again just a larger view of the instructional framework with the professional developments on what elements we're targeting as a school district. So B, the NASOT handbook. So we're using strategies and elements out of the NASOT handbook. All teachers were provided this handbook and have completed multiple professional development sessions around the elements. From time to time, we do bring this handbook into our professional developments. We will do a little bit of PD on it, like a micro study, for example, would be a good example of bringing that book, picking out an element that we're all going to focus and work on and implement into our classrooms, and then come back and have discussions and help us continue working with strategies to help students learn. Teachers have been aware that leaders will be looking for these strategies in classrooms to enhance instructions. The following slide shows a screenshot from a Google form filled out by coaches to collect data on the NASOT strategies. So this was that form where we're looking at those instructional strategies. That if we see that teachers have provided proficiency scales for the students, that has to do with their grading, how we're tracking student progress. This could be a screenshot from the grade book and how they're getting graded. We have bodies of evidence, which are can be assignments and stuff from the classroom. Those go in as non-evaluative, just evidence of student learning. And then we have proficiency checks. And those PCs or proficiency checks are actually that's the actual graded part. So that's how we can track student progress as well. So celebrating success, using informal assessments of the whole class. So there's informal assessments that would be like our bodies of evidence, and then using formal assessments that would be like our proficiency scales. So just a couple of examples of how we collect the data from the teachers to provide them with evidence that they're doing those things in their classrooms. We had Toby Boss came in last year, did professional development sessions. He came in, he did an entire district-wide instructional or PD on instructional strategies for our entire district. And then Toby also came in and met with us at our building level, gave us instructional or met with our instructional coaches and success coaches to provide clarity. He answered a lot of questions that we had, gave us a lot of good ideas to help guide our professional development. From this, we did things like our micro studies. We've implemented our instructional rounds. We're doing video reflection debriefs now. So a lot of good things came from that, and Toby helping us out to better our instruction in classrooms. So these PD sessions are, of course, aligned with our instructional framework and our district goals. So our eye evaluation or eye observation is our evaluation system. Again, this guides teachers on what they should be doing in classroom, gives them feedback on things that administrators are seeing when they come into the classrooms, or the instructional or success coaches. When we go in, we can go in and mark those elements and create evidence to help the teacher provide evidence for their evaluation. So the following two slides show this graphic representation from eye observation to help teachers know what administrators are watching for in the categories of standards-based planning, the conditions for learning, standards-based instruction, and professional responsibilities. So this is a teacher evaluation model that we're using. Again, so teachers planning standards-based lessons. So the lessons at some point, like when we walk in the classroom, we're looking for those standards to be posted somewhere in the classroom in some way or form, so that the students know what the task is for the day. They know how maybe how the task relates to the standard that they're learning about. So we're looking for that when we walk into the classroom. At times, we as instructional coaches or success coaches can sit down and meet with our staff and teachers, ask them questions about how they can be closing the achievement gap, help them to design some lessons to better close that gap as well. So our standards-based instruction, so identifying that critical content standards. This has been done in our content PLCs. Just some other things, students practicing skills, strategizing and processing. We're looking for students examining similarities and differences. We're helping students to examine their reasoning and such. So our conditions for learning, so making sure that we're providing feedback, celebrating progress. I just had a meeting with a teacher the other day. She had some empty spaces on the walls in her classroom. I made a suggestion to take some awesome student work. Ask the student if she can display some of that student work in her classroom. Kids really like that. So that would be an example of a condition for learning type thing that we have discussed and done that. A big one, establishing and acknowledging adherence to our rules and procedures and protocols in classrooms or the school. We hit on that one pretty big in level 1. Using our engagement strategies out of the NASOT handbook. So those are those elements that we can use to engage students. So, and even I think some of our things that we could probably actually get a little bit stronger with here at Owine Middle School is having teachers, how can they better engage students in their content? What type of things are they doing to make the content engageable for students, interesting, right? Where students want to be engaged and want to learn. So Again, our professional responsibilities, just adhering to school district policies, maintaining that expertise in content and pedagogy and so forth. So just our basic instructional framework there. So in eye observation, then under each one of these, so like under these, what you just saw on the opposite slide, this is where we can, as an instructional coach or as a success coach or administrator, either doing a walkthrough or doing an actual formal evaluation, we can go in, we can click on these, and under each one of these, there are indicators that we can click on or check boxes that we can click to say like, oh, we saw the teacher doing this. We saw the, professional responsibilities. The teacher was taking attendance at the beginning of class. Conditions for learning. The classroom was clean. It was organized. We could see that, so we can go in and we can click on those things to show evidence for those teachers as well. So we had new teacher orientation each year. At the new teacher orientation, new staff were introduced to instructional framework. Our instructional team went through. We go through that. We explain that to them, how it works. We run through like scenarios such as evaluations. We run through scenarios like meeting the Iowa teaching standards. We go over our PBIS, which is our behavior system here at school. And then we go over our SRG grading standards. We go over like our proficiency scales. We go over things like our bodies of evidence, which are, again, not graded, but are evidence of student learning. And then we go over like our proficiency scales, which are the graded, or like the assessment itself, which are graded to provide students and parents feedback of how their student learning is coming along. So, and then we have that presentation here you can click on and go through. Our superintendent meets with all new teachers, and also meets with teachers that are on formal evaluation for the year. He does this at the beginning of the year. He goes over the evaluation process. Part of that, through that evaluation process, is going over our instructional framework. He gives us the instructional framework. He gives us the kind of a process, which will be talked about, I believe, later in like 2.4, about how the monthly process that you should be going through on things to be completed for their individual professional development plan and goals. So here's our success criteria from the beginning. When surveyed, when we asked teachers that they can describe an instructional framework, we had a 3.46. The OIN instructional framework is referenced in our PLCs. Teachers came back with a 3.67 in that one. And new teacher orientation August includes an introduction to the instructional framework at a 3.54. So all those are, except for the first one, right at that 3.5 or above range. So when we resurvey, so our initial survey back in the fall of 24 had us at a 3.5. We've increased by almost 0.5 to a 4.0. So we're happy with that improvement with the things that we're doing and implementing. Here's our survey result. So school leader communicates this clear vision as to how instruction should be addressed in the schools. Again, doing pretty well. We're at 3, 4s, and 5s. The vast majority there and agree. You can see that there in that graph. All right, so we consider this an area of strength, so we didn't have an action plan, and then this video will be uploaded here. Thank you very much.